We're often told that food falls neatly into two categories, good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. And bananas? They almost always land in the healthy column. They're natural, packed with nutrients, easy to grab on the go. What could possibly be wrong with them? But here's something I've learned, not just from research, but from real life. Just because a food is considered healthy in general doesn't mean it's healthy for you. Let me tell you about my friend Josh. He's one of the healthiest people I know, wakes up early to hit the gym, eats clean, avoids junk food. For him, bananas were a staple. He had one before every workout, sometimes another as a mid-morning snack. He thought he was fueling his body the right way. But gradually, Josh started to feel off. He couldn't quite explain it. He was more bloated than usual, tired in the afternoons. His focus dropped, and he felt foggy, like his brain just wasn't firing right. At first, he brushed it off as stress or overtraining. But after weeks of feeling this way, he got curious and took a food sensitivity test. That's when things got interesting. Turns out, Josh had a mild fructose malabsorption issue, something many people have but don't even realize. And bananas, of all things, were one of his main triggers. A fruit he thought was helping him was silently working against him. Josh's story isn't rare. I've heard this pattern from so many others, people who feel tired, foggy, or bloated, all while eating what's supposed to be good for them. And it all comes down to something we don't talk about enough: bioindividuality. Your body is not a textbook. It's a living, breathing system that responds uniquely to the world, including the foods you eat. What's nourishing for one person might be problematic for someone else. And that's not failure. It's just biology. So the next time you hear someone say, "This food is good for you," pause for a second and ask yourself, "But is it good for me?" That question alone can change the way you eat, the way you feel, and how connected you are to your body. And if you've ever had a strange reaction to a food that's supposed to be healthy, maybe you felt bloated, sluggish, or anxious afterward, I'd love to hear about it. Drop it in the comments. Your story might help someone else recognize a pattern they've been missing. Now, let's take this a step further. Because there's one situation where bananas can become genuinely dangerous, especially for people with a common but often overlooked health issue: kidney problems. If you or someone you care about has ever struggled with kidney function, what I'm about to share could be critical. Let's get into it. I once met a woman named Linda at a small wellness workshop in our neighborhood. She was in her early 60s, full of warmth, the kind of person who still handwrites thank you notes and brings healthy snacks to share. A few months prior, Linda had been diagnosed with early-stage kidney disease. Determined to take better care of herself, she swapped out processed foods for fresh fruits and vegetables, including, of course, bananas. Every morning, she had one with oatmeal. Sometimes she'd eat another in the afternoon. Bananas were her safe fruit. Natural, easy, filling. But at her next checkup, her doctor raised a concern. Her potassium levels were too high. And for someone with kidney disease, that's not a small issue. It's a serious red flag. You see, healthy kidneys help regulate the balance of electrolytes in our blood, especially potassium, which plays a vital role in muscle and nerve function. But when kidney function declines, excess potassium starts to build up in the bloodstream, leading to a condition called hyperkalemia. And hyperkalemia can be dangerous. It can cause irregular heartbeats, muscle weakness, and in severe cases, even heart failure. Linda had no idea. She thought she was eating clean. And bananas aren't just high in potassium, they also contain phosphorus, another mineral the kidneys typically filter out. When phosphorus builds up, it pulls calcium from your bones and can cause deposits in your blood vessels, joints, or heart. Over time, that can lead to brittle bones, stiffness, or cardiovascular complications. According to a study published on PubMed, even a single 9-ounce banana eaten before dialysis can raise potassium levels in some patients, though in others, it can help stabilize them. It all depends on the stage of kidney function and the person's individual biochemistry. The point is, healthy is not universal. What fuels one body might burden another. For Linda, eating bananas daily was quietly putting strain on her kidneys without her even realizing it. If you or someone you love is dealing with kidney concerns, whether it's chronic kidney disease, high creatinine levels, or even just early warning signs, it's worth asking your doctor about potassium intake. Even small dietary adjustments can make a powerful difference. And if this story sounds familiar, if you've ever been told to avoid certain fruits or nutrients because of your kidneys, share your experience in the comments. Someone out there may be walking the same path, and your story could help. Now here's where it gets even more surprising. While bananas are often considered gentle on the stomach, they can actually cause a lot of discomfort for people with sensitive guts or irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Let's talk about that next. When my cousin Erica first told me she had IBS, she said it like a confession. "I just don't have a normal stomach," she joked, half laughing, half defeated. For years, she'd struggled with unpredictable digestion. Some days fine, other days doubled over with cramps or racing to the bathroom. In her effort to eat clean, Erica did what most of us would. She swapped out packaged snacks for whole foods, started her mornings with fruit, and added a banana to her breakfast plate every day. It seemed like the safest choice. Bananas are soft, gentle, and easy to digest, right? But then something strange happened. The more consistent she was with her healthy routine, the worse she felt. Her bloating increased. Her stomach felt heavy, like it was working overtime just to process food. Eventually, she decided to take a break from bananas, just to experiment. Within days, she felt lighter, more comfortable, and more in control. That's when she learned about FODMAPs, a group of short-chain carbohydrates that can be difficult to digest, especially for people with irritable bowel syndrome. The name stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. Quite the mouthful, but what matters is this. FODMAPs ferment in the gut, producing gas, drawing in water, and triggering symptoms like bloating, cramps, and diarrhea. And here's where bananas get tricky. Ripe bananas contain high levels of fructans, which are a type of FODMAP. These sugars don't get fully absorbed in the small intestine, and when they reach the colon, they start to ferment. That's what can cause that uncomfortable stretching, bubbling, and gassy feeling that many IBS sufferers know all too well. For someone like Erica, who is IBS-D, the diarrhea predominant type, that one banana in the morning was enough to tip her gut out of balance. Her body was trying to digest it quickly, but the fermentation process made everything worse. What she thought was a safe food was actually the silent trigger behind her worst symptoms. To be clear, bananas aren't the enemy. In fact, less ripe, greener, bananas have fewer fermentable sugars and may be better tolerated. But for many people with IBS, it's not just about the food. It's about the form, the timing, and how their unique digestive system processes it. The takeaway? If you have a sensitive gut, don't assume gentle foods are safe. Sometimes, the foods that feel light on the surface can create the most internal chaos. Listening to your body, really listening, matters more than following a generic food list. If you've ever had to eliminate certain healthy foods because they triggered bloating, I'd love to hear what those were. Comment below and let's create a space where others with IBS or sensitive digestion can feel less alone. Now, while bananas may irritate your gut, there's another place where their effects might linger longer than you'd expect: your teeth. Let's talk about how bananas could be quietly affecting your dental health, especially if you already have cavities or enamel erosion. That's coming up next. A few years ago, my friend Daniel decided to get serious about his health. He cut out soda, stopped buying packaged sweets, and stocked his kitchen with clean foods. One of his proudest changes? Swapping his afternoon cookie habit for a banana. Every day at 3 p.m., without fail, he'd peel one open at his desk like a ritual. But a few months into his new routine, he had an unexpected surprise: a dull ache in one of his molars. A visit to the dentist revealed a small cavity, and not just one. His dentist pointed out signs of enamel wear on multiple teeth. Daniel was stunned. "But I gave up sugar," he said. And that's when his dentist asked, "Do you eat a lot of fruit, like bananas?" See, bananas don't seem like troublemakers. They're not candy. They're not acidic like citrus. But here's the catch. Bananas contain natural sugars and starches, and what makes them different is their texture, soft, sticky, and slow to clear from your teeth. Unlike crunchier fruits like apples or pears that naturally help scrub your teeth as you chew, bananas tend to coat the surface of your teeth and linger. That residue becomes a feast for bacteria in your mouth. The bacteria break down the sugars, producing acid that wears away at your enamel, the protective layer of your teeth. Over time, this can lead to cavities, sensitivity, and erosion that isn't always easy to reverse. And here's something many people don't realize. Even though bananas aren't sour, their pH is slightly acidic, which adds to the risk. Combine that with sticky starch, and you've got a sneaky combo that can silently damage your smile. It's not about blaming bananas. It's about timing, frequency, and habits. If you're eating them often, especially as a standalone snack, it helps to rinse your mouth with water afterward, or even pair the banana with something like almonds or plain yogurt, which can help neutralize acid. Daniel made a simple shift. He still eats bananas, but now he follows up with a sip of water, and he stopped treating them like a daily treat. Sometimes a small tweak makes all the difference. The lesson? Even healthy choices have side effects if we don't stay curious and aware. Taking care of your body means asking deeper questions, not just, is this good, but how does this affect me over time? Now, speaking of things that affect your body over time, let's talk about something that builds silently, deep inside, your blood triglycerides. If you've been eating fruit to eat clean, what I'm about to share might surprise you. Let's get into it. A while back, a friend of mine, Jason, came to me feeling frustrated. He had been trying to lose weight for months. He cut out soda, started jogging every morning, and filled his kitchen with healthy foods. "I've stopped eating cookies and ice cream," he said, "but I can't lose this belly fat. I even switched to fruit-only snacks, mostly bananas." Jason's effort was real. His intention was good. But what he didn't know was that he was unknowingly consuming a lot of sugar, specifically fructose. Now don't get me wrong, bananas are natural and much healthier than ultra-processed sweets. But here's what's often overlooked. Natural sugar is still sugar, and fructose, the primary sugar in bananas, behaves very differently in your body compared to glucose. Unlike glucose, which can be used by almost every cell in your body for energy, fructose is processed almost entirely by the liver. If your body already has enough energy stored, especially if you're not burning many calories, your liver doesn't need the extra fructose. So what does it do with it? It converts it into triglycerides, which are a type of fat that circulates in your blood and, over time, can lead to fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, and increased risk of heart problems. What made Jason's situation more complicated was that he believed he was eating clean. But clean doesn't always mean smart. By eating 2 or 3 bananas a day on top of other natural sources of fructose, he was unknowingly putting stress on his liver and keeping his triglyceride levels high. According to a study published on Science Direct, fructose increases blood triglyceride levels significantly more than other forms of sugar like glucose or starch. And the scary part? Fatty liver disease is often silent. You don't feel it. You don't see it. It just builds slowly, quietly, until something breaks. Jason didn't need to give up bananas entirely. He just needed to understand when and how much to eat them. For example, pairing a banana with protein or fiber, like peanut butter or oats, slows down sugar absorption and puts less pressure on the liver. And switching things up, eating lower fructose fruits like berries or kiwi helped him balance his diet without feeling restricted. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Natural doesn't always mean harmless. Just because something grows on a tree doesn't mean your body wants it every day in large amounts. And if you've ever struggled with stubborn belly fat, blood sugar swings, or unexplained fatigue, even when eating healthy, fructose overload might be the missing piece. Have you ever noticed a sugar crash after eating too much fruit? If so, drop a comment. You're not alone, and your insight might help someone else connect the dots. Now, sugar doesn't just affect your metabolism, it can also interact with your immune system in surprising ways. In the next section, we'll look at how bananas may trigger unexpected reactions in people with histamine intolerance. Let's dive into that next. A few years ago, I met a woman named Sarah who had been dealing with what she called mystery allergies for years. She had itchy skin, runny nose, and sometimes even stomach upset after eating what she thought were perfectly normal foods. The weird part was, it wasn't always the same food that triggered her symptoms. One day it would be dairy, the next day tomatoes, and sometimes even a handful of almonds. Frustrated, Sarah went from doctor to doctor, trying to find a solution. Eventually, after several tests, she was diagnosed with histamine intolerance, something that most people don't realize they even have until the symptoms start piling up. What does this have to do with bananas? Well, it turns out that bananas, like many other seemingly benign foods, can trigger histamine release in people with histamine intolerance. Here's how it works. While bananas themselves don't contain a high amount of histamine, they are histamine liberators. That means they stimulate your body to release more histamine from cells called mast cells. For someone with histamine intolerance, this can be a big problem. The body struggles to break down histamine properly, and as a result, it builds up in the system, leading to symptoms like skin rashes, headaches, nasal congestion, and digestive distress. Sarah found that after eating bananas, her face would flush, her sinuses would feel stuffy, and her stomach would churn. These reactions were mild at first, but over time, they became more frequent and more intense. The reason bananas trigger this is related to biogenic amines, compounds found in many aged or fermented foods that can prompt the release of histamine. Bananas, along with foods like cheese, wine, and smoked meats, can increase histamine levels, especially in people who already have difficulty breaking down histamine with the help of an enzyme called DAO, diamine oxidase. Sarah's story was a wake-up call for me. We often think that healthy foods, especially fruits, are always safe. But the truth is, what's healthy for one person may not be for another, especially if they have a hidden sensitivity. If Sarah had kept eating bananas regularly, her symptoms would have only worsened. The lesson here is clear. Don't just assume that every healthy food is harmless. If you notice patterns of discomfort after eating certain foods, whether it's bananas, citrus, or even chocolate, it might be worth talking to a doctor or a nutritionist about histamine intolerance. With a simple diet tweak, Sarah was able to avoid her triggers and improve her quality of life. If you've experienced symptoms like Sarah's, you're not alone. Feel free to share your experiences in the comments below. It's comforting to know that we're all in this together. And speaking of things we might not expect to cause harm, let's move on to the next issue. While bananas are mild on the digestive system for many people, they can be a nightmare for those who struggle with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Let's take a closer look at why bananas can cause discomfort for some people with sensitive guts. Stay tuned. I remember a time when my friend Emily was constantly feeling down. She was a dedicated professional, balancing work, family, and her own health goals, but she felt like she couldn't shake this persistent low mood. Her sleep wasn't great either. She'd wake up multiple times during the night, always feeling exhausted the next day. One day, she told me she had started adding more bananas to her diet, hoping they would help her feel better. I read somewhere that bananas boost serotonin, she said, excited that she had found an easy solution. For Emily, it felt like the perfect fix. After all, bananas are packed with tryptophan, an amino acid that helps your body produce serotonin, the so-called feel-good hormone. So, she'd have a banana every morning, thinking it would help lift her mood and improve her sleep. But after a couple of weeks, she didn't feel any different. Her sleep still wasn't better, and her mood remained pretty flat. Confused, she did a bit more research, and that's when things got interesting. While it's true that bananas do contain tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin, they aren't quite the magic fix many people believe them to be. You see, tryptophan needs certain conditions in your body to be converted into serotonin. And here's the kicker. eating just one banana a day isn't enough to significantly increase serotonin levels on its own. For tryptophan to do its job properly, your body also needs a balance of other nutrients, like vitamin B6 and carbohydrates, to help the tryptophan cross the blood-brain barrier and make serotonin. If you only eat a banana, which is a carbohydrate but lacks other critical nutrients in high amounts, it's simply not enough to cause a noticeable mood boost. Emily's experience wasn't unique. Many people believe that because bananas are rich in tryptophan, they'll immediately feel happier and sleep better, but this is a myth. The real key to serotonin production isn't about one magic food. It's about a balanced diet that includes sufficient amounts of protein, vitamins, and complex carbohydrates to support overall brain function and mood regulation. The lesson here is simple. Don't fall for the magic food trap. Bananas, like many other foods, can play a role in supporting overall health, but they aren't going to fix everything on their own. If you're looking to boost serotonin levels, focus on a holistic approach, getting enough sleep, managing stress, exercising, and eating a variety of nutrient-dense foods. If you've ever tried a food like bananas to fix your mood or sleep, I'd love to hear about your experience. Did it work for you, or were you left feeling disappointed? Share your story in the comments. I'm sure others will relate. And now, speaking of food myths, let's dive into the next topic, bananas and blood sugar spikes. We know bananas are considered healthy, but could they actually be causing your blood sugar to spike? Let's take a closer look. A few months ago, I started going to the gym with my friend David. He was a fitness enthusiast, always reading up on the latest health trends and nutrition tips. He'd often talk about how important it was to refuel right after a workout, and naturally, bananas were always part of his post-workout routine. Bananas are perfect after a workout, he'd say. They're packed with carbs and potassium, which are exactly what your body needs to recover. At first, I didn't question it. I followed his lead and made sure to have a banana after every session. But then, one day, I noticed something odd. Despite feeling energized right after my workout, I'd often feel sluggish a couple of hours later. My muscles were sore, and my energy levels seemed to drop more quickly than I expected. It got me thinking, was the banana really the best choice for post-workout recovery? I decided to look into it. Bananas do provide quick-digesting carbohydrates, which your body needs after a workout to replenish its glycogen stores. They also offer potassium, an essential mineral that helps prevent cramps. But here's where things get interesting. Bananas alone might not be enough for full recovery. While they're great for replenishing glycogen, they don't provide much protein, and protein is essential for muscle repair. When you work out, especially with strength training, your muscles experience tiny tears. Protein helps to rebuild these muscles and make them stronger. Without enough protein, your muscles can't recover as effectively, which could lead to more soreness and a slower recovery time. David and I had a conversation about this, and he shared that he was also starting to feel some of the same effects. While bananas were giving him an initial energy boost, he was still feeling worn out later in the day. So, we started tweaking our post-workout snacks. We added a source of protein, like Greek yogurt or a protein shake, alongside our banana. The difference was incredible. Not only did we feel better sooner, but the muscle soreness also decreased significantly. The lesson here is that balance is key. Bananas are a great, quick source of energy after exercise, but for optimal recovery, you need to combine them with protein. A banana with some almond butter or a protein smoothie with banana and berries is a perfect combo. It's about giving your body both the fuel it needs for immediate recovery and the building blocks it needs for longer-term muscle repair. If you've been relying on just bananas after your workouts and still feeling sluggish or sore, it might be time to reconsider your post-workout nutrition. Share your favorite post-workout recovery snacks in the comments below. I'd love to hear what works for you. Now, while bananas are great for quick energy, did you know they can also impact your blood sugar levels in surprising ways? Let's dive into how bananas might be causing blood sugar spikes and what you can do to manage them. A few months ago, my friend Carla shared with me that she was trying to improve her vision. She was getting older, and like many of us, she'd started to notice her eyesight wasn't as sharp as it used to be. She had read somewhere that eating more fruits high in vitamin A could help protect her eyes, so she added a banana to her daily routine, thinking it would give her the extra boost she needed. You know, bananas are great for vision, right? She said, smiling as she added one to her smoothie. I smiled back, but something about the claim didn't sit right with me. Bananas are often praised for their high potassium and fiber content, but vitamin A, which is essential for eye health, isn't one of their standout features. In fact, bananas aren't considered a top food for supporting vision. Carrots, spinach, and sweet potatoes, those are the heavyweights when it comes to eye health. These foods are packed with beta-carotene, which is converted into vitamin A in the body, helping to maintain healthy vision, especially in low-light conditions. So, I decided to look a bit deeper into this. Bananas do contain some vitamin A, but the amount is relatively small compared to other fruits and vegetables. While vitamin A does support eye health by maintaining the cells in the retina, bananas don't provide the high concentrations you'd get from other more potent sources of beta-carotene, like carrots or kale. Carla, like many of us, was just following a simple piece of advice she had read. Bananas are great for many things, but they're not the go-to solution for eye health. That said, they do provide other nutrients like vitamin C, which can help protect the eyes from oxidative stress caused by free radicals. But when it comes to significantly improving or protecting your vision, bananas should be seen as part of a balanced diet rather than a miracle food for your eyes. The lesson here is that while bananas are nutritious, they're not always the fix we hope they are when it comes to specific health goals. Relying solely on one food, even a healthy one, won't provide all the benefits your body needs. Instead, it's about balance and variety. If you want to support your vision, include a range of colorful fruits and vegetables that are rich in beta-carotene, like carrots, sweet potatoes, and leafy greens. If you've ever tried using bananas or any other superfood to target a specific health benefit, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What has worked for you, and what have you found to be a bit overhyped? Share your experiences in the comments below. Now that we've tackled vision, let's move on to something else bananas may impact: triglyceride levels. Could the natural sugars in bananas be affecting your heart health? Let's dive into that next. Throughout this video, we've explored the surprising ways bananas can impact your health, both positively and negatively. From their role in kidney disease to their potential to trigger IBS symptoms, we've uncovered how something as innocent as a banana can affect different people in unexpected ways. But here's the million-dollar question: should you eat bananas? For many people, bananas are a fantastic choice. They're a convenient, portable, and nutrient-rich fruit. They provide a healthy dose of potassium, vitamin C, and fiber, making them an excellent snack or a quick energy booster before or after a workout. For athletes, those looking for quick energy, or those who need to maintain electrolyte balance, a banana can be a real lifesaver. But as we've seen, bananas are not a one-size-fits-all solution. If you have kidney issues, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or histamine intolerance, you may want to rethink your banana consumption. Bananas aren't the go-to fix for everything, and in some cases, they could even worsen certain conditions. Let's revisit a few important lessons from our deep dive into bananas. 1. Bioindividuality matters. Just because something is good for the majority of people doesn't mean it's good for you. 2. Balance and variety are key. While bananas are rich in essential nutrients, they shouldn't be the only fruit in your diet. Variety is what will help you meet your body's different nutritional needs. 3. Be mindful of your body. If you notice that eating bananas is causing digestive discomfort, fatigue, or other unusual symptoms, it might be time to reassess their role in your diet. I think of it like this: if bananas are a piece of the puzzle, they aren't the whole picture. They're part of a healthy diet, but not the only part. You need different foods to help support different aspects of your health. No single food is a cure-all, no matter how healthy it seems. Takeaway: if you don't have any contraindications and you love bananas, there's no reason to avoid them. But if you notice discomfort or if you have specific health conditions, it's worth considering other options or modifying how you consume bananas, whether that means eating them in moderation or pairing them with other foods that support your body's needs. So, should you eat bananas? The answer really depends on your body and your individual needs. If you found that bananas have helped you in some way, great. If not, don't worry. You're not alone, and there are plenty of other ways to nourish your body. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you noticed any surprising effects from eating bananas, or have you found alternatives that work better for you? Share your experiences in the comments. And that wraps up today's deep dive into bananas. I hope this helped you make more informed choices about the foods you eat and how they affect your health. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to hearing all about your experiences.